farming. Okay. So about us, I'm 12 years old, and I am 9 years old. We live in Romania. I study in German 8th grade. I study in German 5th grade. And when we are home, we milk our goats every day. We have goats, chickens, ducks, geese, a crow, dogs, cats, a tortoise, and 2 terrapins. We do not live on a farm, just no one's on. Okay, so how big is that? If we think about the atmosphere as water, we are about 10 meters deep. Actually, we are 12 and a half, but it's about 10 meters deep, and it's about 5 people. So in this diagram, you see that in the last 800,000 years, the CO2 level has been varying between 200 ppm, parts per million, and now in the last 50 years, it doubled itself, so now it's 400 parts per million. How much CO2 is there in the atmosphere? So if you think about the CO2 as water, like if it rained out of the sky, same density of water, it would have been somewhere around 3 millimeters. It's pretty simple because if you plant another layer of grass all around the earth, it would solve the problem because there's a lot of carbon dioxide. But then you can't do that because you've got a lot of sea, and then you'd have to plant a mixture of grass, trees, and seaweed. And while they're still growing fast, you'd have to stop producing carbon dioxide. So our total emission last year was 42 billion tons of carbon dioxide, and 82% of it is made by the 86, sorry, is made by the fossil fuels. So most of it is made by the fossil fuels. In this diagram, you see how much each emission is. So 86% of the carbon dioxide is made by fossil fuels. Then you've got this from deforestation. You've got the other 11 and farming, and there are many little, and cement, for example. And then you've got methane. It's another greenhouse gas, and methane gets made by the ice melting, and then you've got like pockets of methane that get demelted, and then the methane gets released. And then you've got nitric oxide that are made by fertilizers and burning coal. And so how much coal is burned? The world uses 100 million barrels a day, and that is a barrel is 160 kilograms, and one liter of oil is somewhere around 2.6 kilograms of carbon dioxide. And this is about 13 million tons of carbon dioxide, 30% of the global emission. So how much coal? So coal is pretty dirty because 1 kilogram of coal is equal with about 3 kilograms of carbon dioxide. And coal is still getting reduced, but not very effectively, and it's only about 45% of the total emission. How much cement?
Natural gas.
Sorry?
Gas.
Gas. Okay, how much gas? We use 38 billion metric meters of metric cubic meters. Yeah, sorry. And this is the single fossil fuel that's still increasing in usage in America and China because it's better than the other ones. It makes less carbon dioxide per liter, so 1 liter is equal with about 1.6 kilograms of carbon dioxide, and it's only 16% of the total emission. How much cement? So cement is ground up limestone and then molten at 1,500 degrees, of course, with fossil fuels, and when it hardens, it gives off the carbon dioxide it's been storing for thousands of years, and this means that, and so it gives it off, and then the other so half of it is coming from the cement directly when limestone releases carbon dioxide, and the other half comes from the fossil fuel that we use to melt it. So it's 8% of total. We have a problem. We are not storing quick enough because it takes thousands of years to store for example, fossil fuels, and then we burn it in minutes. Yeah. Now, there are two ways that nature stores fossil fuel. One is through plants. And plants grow and then it takes like thousands of years to turn into fossil fuel. And then we are going to burn them and release all the carbon that is stored. But the more permanent way is through the nature stores it through shells and skeletons, like would be corals, seashells, and sea snails and others. And those we boil and then we heat up and then we release the carbon dioxide that took thousands of years to form. So just plant trees, we hear this a lot in the news. Now, can we really just plant trees? A tree, for example, let's see, how much carbon does a tree capture? Let's see, for example, a pine tree. A pine tree captures about half its weight of carbon, and in average a tree captures around 10 to 20 kilograms of carbon. And let's say in a hectare we plant 1,000 trees, and this would be 10 to 20 tons of carbon per hectare per year. Now, the molecule of carbon dioxide is nearly 4 times as heavy as the carbon. So we are going to multiply it by 4. So we are going to get a hectare captures about 36 to 70 tons of carbon per year. We are going to be optimistic. We are going to say it captures 70, and then we are going to divide the last year carbon dioxide emission, and that was 42 billion tons of carbon dioxide. And then we have to plant 600 million hectares of forest. Yeah. How much forest is there? So the whole world has 50 billion hectares of land, out of which 1/3 is land. That means about 15 billion hectares of land. And out of that, 1/3 is forest. That means about 4 billion hectares of forest. And now we're going to. So that means we need another 600 million hectares of forest. That means we need another 15%. So what's been done? We are deforesting about 10 million hectares a year, and out of the forest that exists right now, 7% is new plantation. The United Nations target was 350 million hectares by 2030, and that's acceptable because it's half that much. So in the US we have 330 hectares of forest, and and that means we have to plant another 15%. And if we planted 50%, that means 35% of the whole land will be forest. And that's possible because before the Europeans came to America and cut down trees, we had 46% forest.
Climate. Today is the highest CO2 level in 800,000 years. We see effects of global warming everywhere. The Arctic is on fire, there are high temperatures at the poles and in Siberia, and there are more storms than ever before. There is snow in Mexico, and since the Industrial Revolution, there has been a lot of mass extinction, and half the corals are dead. We stop deforestation locally, but support it as long as it's not a home. We've got forest mergers that turn trees into sawdust, and then we light them. We see this happen in Romania. Who pays for deforestation? There's no deforestation in Western Europe or in the US. US companies support deforestation in places like the Amazon, while Western Europe supports deforestation in Eastern Europe. Foreign investors with an assured market back home get an agricultural subvention if they can get the land to be clean. We indirectly support deforestation by buying from Why do we ignore abundance? We have growing economies based on burning oil, coal, and natural gas. Economies have to keep growing or get destroyed. Politicians who are funded by oil companies have no interest and support ineffectual changes like bans, straws, and induced recycling. They are unaffected because they are rich. They have a fear that if they start getting richer, they will be put to prison. And another reason that we ignore emergency is that life is still pretty good. Renewable. Renewable energy is stuff like energy from fossil fuels. There's a good example of an island, which is a desert on top of a volcano where you could put geothermal and to power all of the Canary Islands. Its name is Lanzarote. But it is still cheaper to ship oil. You could put solar panels on the roofs of the houses, but that is still on the Canary Island, but that is still not enough. And it's also not cheap enough. So it's still cheaper to ship oil. What next? We need carbon-free solutions that work. Depends where we are. Nuclear energy is carbon-free and compact. Wind is good for places like the seashore and the sea. While solar is good for places like deserts, where you could put solar panels on the roofs of the houses. 1/3 of the world is dead. We could put geothermal over volcanoes and hydro near falls and rivers. And we also need clean storage. As long as renewable is not enough, we could have fossil fuels, but that would just give us cleaner emissions. We could also capture the CO2 and push it back into the ground. But we could also use nuclear energy, for it is carbon. It uses much less space per amount of energy. But there's an unreasonable fear of something that works. Unanswered questions. We do not have a plan that adds up. We need clean and cheap energy storage. But batteries are dirty and expensive. Are there simpler alternatives for energy storage, like pump water up a dam into a lake, or pump water into an oil well? Could we make superconductivity at room temperature or predict energy demand and monitor what we need, buy what we need, store less? Now the outside. Addiction to technology. There's a lot addiction to technology. People stay inside, plants grow, wildlife comes back. Is this the natural way to deal with mass extinction?
Another question.